What went through your mind when you heard that they actually did try to indict you over this video?
Well, I mean, we got a little heads up and then we didn't know the outcome. And then we learned a little bit later last night that they failed to get an indictment. And, I got some texts from people talking about, oh, this is great. This is, great news. And I'm like, this is not great news. This is Donald Trump trying to break the system, him and his cronies, trying to break a system that's in place for 250 years, trying to weaponize the Department of Justice against sitting members of Congress because we said something that he didn't like. It's rather simple. I mean, he wants myself and Alyssa Slotkin and 4 House members to go to prison because we restated what was in the Uniform Code of Military Justice. I mean, has that ever happened in our country's history? I mean, we're a separate branch of government. I have a responsibility to my constituents, people who voted for me to do my job. Donald Trump doesn't like how I'm doing my job. And for that, he wants me to go to prison.
Do you think they'll try to do so again?
I would not put anything past, these guys. We've seen this before. This is also right out of the authoritarian playbook. We see stuff like this in other countries, right? This happens in places like China and Russia. But this happened this week, right here in the United States of America in Washington, D.C.
And some people might look at this and say, well, the president, it's not just that he wants this to happen. He has people willing to try to make this happen. I talked to one person who worked for Trump in his first term. I won't say who it was. They texted me right after and said this is un-American and that no reasonable lawyer would believe there was a probable cause to support an indictment. That person should probably be disbarred who tried to bring it. I mean, when you look at that and you look at how many times he's tried to get other people indicted, Senate Democrats are meeting tomorrow. What do you want your colleagues to do?
Well, we're going to talk about this because this is not just about me. It's not just about Alyssa Slotkin. I mean, this is about all of us in the Senate, also about the Republicans, by the way. This is, their body, too, and they've got to, try to defend this as an institution. We're a separate branch of government, come before the presidency, Article 1. If this becomes a new norm, will fundamentally change our democracy going forward. So we can't allow this to happen. I mean, we're trying to sort through, like, what are our next steps? And by the way, this president, he's not like he was in 2016.
What do you
mean?
To me,
well, he just feels like a different guy almost, and there's a level of vindictiveness. And if he perceives you as an enemy, he's going to go after you. And and I really don't expect him to give up anytime soon. We've seen this with other people, that he tries to do this again or takes a different approach. And you mentioned those people that work for him, Jeanine Pirro and Pam Bondi. I watched some of that hearing today, and you can see that when these folks from the administration come before the Senate and the House, that they're performing for one person, and that's the president.
House Speaker Mike Johnson, I want you to listen to what he said yesterday after they failed to get this indictment of y'all and what he said today about this.
I mean, I think that anytime you're obstructing law enforcement and getting in the way of these sensitive operations, it's a very serious thing, and it probably is a crime, yeah, they probably should be indicted. It's a very dangerous gambit that they were playing. Should they be sent to jail? Probably not. But we need to call it out as being wildly inappropriate, and they need to course correct.
Do you think they should be indicted?
I don't know what the terms of it were. I don't know what the charges were, what was being sought. I can't evaluate something I haven't seen.
Between that and John Thune saying today that the failed indictment was the justice system at work, I guess. Is that what you see?
I guess, no. I mean, I think this is an attack on our democracy. I mean, we should have never found ourselves in this position with this president saying we should be hanged and then executed and now prosecuted. They're trying to demote me after spending 25 years in the United States Navy, flying 39 combat missions. I flew the space shuttle 4 times. I served in the Navy for 25 years. They're trying to take away my rank and take away my pay. And what the hell is Mike Johnson talking about? Obstructing law enforcement? Does he have any idea what he is even talking about? And by the way, I mean, John Thune seems to sort of get it. Not a very strong statement. Mike Johnson is supposed to be the Speaker of the House of Representatives. I mean, he has an incredibly, one of the most important, I'd say the second most important job in the country after the president, ahead of the vice president. And that's the way he acts. I mean, who is he? It seems to me that he is maybe not the Speaker of the House, but he is there representing the president in that building.
You want to see him put out a stronger statement?
Mike Johnson, I want to see him, at least understand the facts of what we're talking about. He seems kind of clueless about the whole thing. With regards to John Thune, this affects his members too. And by the way, he's the majority leader. He's the top, the top senator. And I think he has a responsibility to defend the institution. And this institution will be significantly damaged if they continue to pursue, this line of attack against myself and Senator Slotkin. Again, this president wants to throw us into prison because of something we said that was lawful. In the Uniform Code of Military Justice, it sends a chilling effect, not just to the Senate. There are over 2 million retired service members across the country similar to me. I've spoken to retired admirals and generals who now have changed what they say and do because of what this president is doing to me.
That's remarkable. Can I also ask you tonight, because you talked about your service, you talked about the space shuttle. You're from Arizona.
Right.
And one thing I didn't realize until earlier was you actually live, you and Gabby, not far from where Savannah Guthrie's mom lives.
That's correct.
And I just wonder, as you're looking at this and how this has just gripped everyone tonight, and it's so horrifying, what you make of how this search is played out and what's underway in your home state.
Tonight's political controversy centers on a failed attempt to secure a criminal indictment against sitting members of Congress, an effort that has triggered sharp accusations of executive overreach and raised questions about the boundaries of presidential power. The interview opens with confirmation that prosecutors were unable to obtain an indictment related to a video statement made by members of Congress. While some allies describe the development as good news, the lawmaker at the center of the controversy rejects that framing entirely. Instead of celebrating, he describes the episode as deeply troubling, not because charges failed, but because they were pursued at all. At the heart of the dispute is an allegation that the Department of Justice was used, or at least pressured, in an attempt to prosecute elected officials for statements they made publicly. According to the senator, the remarks in question merely restated language already contained in the Uniform Code of Military Justice, language that governs the conduct of members of the armed forces. From his perspective, this was not an isolated disagreement over speech. It was, he argues, an effort to punish political dissent. He frames the attempted indictment as an attempt to weaponize federal law enforcement, a phrase that has become increasingly common in modern political discourse. The accusation implies that legal tools designed to uphold justice were instead deployed in pursuit of political retaliation. The constitutional implications are central to his argument. Congress, as he emphasizes, is a separate branch of government. Article 1 of the Constitution establishes the legislative branch before the presidency. The idea that executive power could be used to prosecute lawmakers for speech, he suggests, threatens that foundational separation. The interview escalates when the senator compares the situation to tactics seen in authoritarian governments, specifically referencing China and Russia. By invoking those comparisons, he signals that he views the moment not as routine partisan conflict, but as something more systemic and potentially dangerous to democratic norms. The significance of the failed indictment lies not only in its outcome, but in the precedent it could set. If criminal investigations were routinely launched against political opponents for statements made in the course of official duties, it could fundamentally alter the relationship between the branches of government. Adding another layer to the story, the senator references a message he received from someone who previously worked in the Trump administration. According to that account, the legal theory behind the attempted indictment lacked probable cause. While the identity of that source is not revealed, the implication is clear. Skepticism about the case extends beyond partisan lines. Meanwhile, Senate Democrats are preparing to meet and discuss next steps. But the senator insists this is not solely a Democratic issue. Republicans, he says, also have a responsibility to defend the institutional integrity of Congress itself. The interview also reveals divisions within Republican leadership. House Speaker Mike Johnson initially suggested that obstruction of law enforcement could warrant indictment, calling the situation serious. However, he later acknowledged he had not reviewed the specific charges and could not fully evaluate the matter. That contrast becomes a focal point. The senator criticizes what he perceives as a lack of clarity and institutional defense from congressional leadership, arguing that protecting legislative independence should transcend party loyalty. The discussion turns personal when the senator outlines his military career: 25 years in the United States Navy, 39 combat missions flown, and 4 space shuttle missions. These credentials are presented not simply as biography, but as context. He suggests that the threat of prosecution, along with reported efforts to demote him and strip rank and pay, represents more than political retaliation. It is, in his view, an attack on service itself. Beyond Capitol Hill, he describes what he calls a chilling effect. According to his account, retired admirals and generals have begun altering what they say publicly, concerned about potential consequences. If accurate, that development would signal broader reverberations beyond elected officials, extending into the military community. Throughout the interview, one theme remains constant: the balance of power. The senator repeatedly frames the controversy as a test of democratic resilience, whether institutions can withstand political pressure without bending to it. Supporters of the president, however, have argued in other contexts that investigations are legitimate when laws are potentially broken. The failed indictment, as one Republican leader suggested, could also be interpreted as the justice system functioning properly, evaluating evidence and declining charges when standards are not met. In that sense, both interpretations hinge on institutional trust. One side sees a dangerous attempt at political prosecution. The other points to the system's ultimate refusal to indict as proof that safeguards remain intact. What makes this moment significant is not simply that charges were considered. It is that the mere possibility of indictment against sitting lawmakers has become part of mainstream political reality. As the Senate prepares internal discussions, the larger question remains unresolved. Was this a lawful review of potentially criminal conduct or an unprecedented effort to silence opposition? The answer may shape not only the political fortunes of those involved, but also public confidence in the durability of American democratic institutions. For now, the indictment effort has failed, but the debate over executive authority, congressional independence, and the limits of political accountability is far from over. And as this story continues to unfold, its implications will likely extend well beyond a single video, a single statement, or a single political dispute, touching instead on the fundamental question of how power is exercised and restrained in the United States of America.